Today's big show is on beliefs and material culture, and this fits in our culture unit. So material culture are the physical objects of a culture. Whether we're talking about smartphones or automobiles or the masks that we now wear, these are part of our physical objects of our culture. Not every culture has the same physical objects, nor have they always had the same physical objects, and that will change over time. Non-material culture would be the ideas, knowledge, and beliefs that influence people's behavior in a culture. And I'm going to focus on beliefs here. Beliefs are ideas about the nature of reality. They include things like traditions, roles, and cultural expectations. They can be true or false. And one example of that would be during World War II in Germany. Many Germans believed, it was their belief, that if they hung a photograph, a portrait of Adolf Hitler on their walls would be spared from the bombing. They wouldn't crumble. Well, that belief didn't work out too well for many Germans. Beliefs are important because people base their behavior on what they believe, regardless of whether the beliefs are true or false or how accurate they are. In other words, their perception, what they believe. What we believe is our reality, which means what we do. Our perception is our reality. We act in the way based on our beliefs, whatever those beliefs are. If we believe that school is a waste of time and it has no value at all, and that belief can be based on experiences, on any random set of ideas, maybe things we're not even aware of, then we're going to behave differently in school than if we think school is a place where we need to be. It's important. That doesn't mean it's always fun. If we believe that every person needs to have and should be treated with respect, if that's our belief, then we're going to most likely act accordingly towards each and every person, not just certain people. Our perception is our reality. Now, the cultural meaning of physical objects is not determined by their characteristics. It's based on beliefs, norms, and values people hold with regard to them. A smartphone is only important to us because we believe it to be important. I have an example for you. For a long time, way into the late 1900s, church services would only use an organ to accompany the choir. That was very traditional. The belief was that only the organ, maybe some stringed instruments, but mostly the organ was holy enough to be used in a church service. Where today it is not unusual to see guitars and drums and other instruments, because now we don't oftentimes attribute holiness as an attribute to physical objects of different types of musical instruments. So what we decide a certain instrument is, it's what it is based on our beliefs, has changed over time, and therefore the meaning of these instruments changes over time. And the last bit I'm going to talk about is ideal and real culture. Ideal culture would be cultural guidelines that group members claim to accept. Real culture is the actual behavior patterns of members of a group. A good example of that is lying. In our culture, in the ideal culture, you don't lie. Honesty is really important. You don't lie. But in practice, people lie all the time. They're dishonest all the time. They're not always 100% honest. And now don't get confused here with this idea of honesty. Oftentimes people will substitute their opinion for facts in regard to honesty. They'll say hurtful things and they say, well, I'm just being honest. No, you're being honest, telling your current opinion on something, but you're stating it as if it's a given fact. I'm talking about people being honest with, for example, their own behavior. And we want to be treated with people being honest to us, but we are oftentimes dishonest in what we do or what we say. That's the difference between ideal culture and real culture. And there's all kinds of things in our culture where we believe one thing, we say this is the way it's supposed to be, but in actuality we act a much different way. And that's your big show for today.